Hi, I'm Danielle Gallant with Guardian Realty, and today we're going to talk about this bifurcated property tax. It's been a big, kerfuffle in the news lately. So a few years ago, and I did an interview with Heidi Harris, and I was, talked to some legislators and under the impression that it was like 4 years ago that they implemented this bifurcated tax between those that are primary residents versus those that are investment properties. So this lovely woman from the assessor's office, wrote this email giving me a little bit more backstory and some sort of like inside baseball, because when you don't work for the assessors or the recorders, you don't really know all the ins and outs. So apparently they implemented this back in 2005. I was not really aware of this per the Realtor Association and some other announcements that came up until like 4 years ago, and possibly they had changed the process at that point. I'm not sure, and I'll have to do a little bit more digging into it. But essentially what this does is that if you're a private homeowner, then your property taxes get capped at 3%. If you have an investment property, it will get capped at 8%. And over the last few years, they've incrementally just like been, ticking it upwards to get to that 8%. So it wasn't like this huge shock one year. So the process essentially goes as you get this postcard, you're supposed to fill it out, let them know whether these properties or said property is a primary residence or whether it is a investment property. Now, supposedly we are not supposed to get that card until there's some type of ownership change. However, I've been getting the card for my personal property every single year. So I'm just talking about what my experience has been. And we bought our home back in 2015. We then did a quick claim back in 2016 into a trust. And ever since then, I've been getting that card and reporting that this is our primary residence. Now, if it's a rental property, you're supposed to say it's a rental property and how much the rent is. Because if the rent is below market under a certain amount, then you're supposed to be able to qualify to be able to just do it 3% because you're providing affordable housing. Now, for my mom's house, which is not my primary residence, but I do pay the mortgage on it, I don't collect rent. So I have reported to the treasurer's office that it is my primary residence, but that it is zero rent collected. Well, that's been popped up to 8%. Now, at any point you can change this and notify them that it's your primary residence. So you can go follow a link, and we'll include that down below so you can check your property taxes. Calling in's been really difficult because once this has been brought to everybody's attention, their phones have been totally flooded. I'll also include a PDF of the form with an email, so you can email it into the Clark County or wherever you are in the state, so that you can make sure that your property taxes are at the, being charged at the correct percentage. Now, part of the process, which is so horrible, and this nice lady definitely agreed with me on this, was that we're relying on the Postal Service to actually deliver the mail, which, maybe 90% of the time, and I might be being, nice on that one, they actually get it to their destination. But if the Postal Service doesn't deliver it, somehow it gets lost in the mail, then the county automatically says, we didn't get the card, we're pushing you up to 8%. We're just going to assume that it is a rental property. Now, once you correct this, they can go back about a year to refund or credit you the money, but they can't go farther back than that. And from what I understand, for this nice woman that reached out, it says that the legislation doesn't allow for them to go farther back. But I also know the legislation states that you can't charge more than 3% if it's a primary home. So I'm not quite sure which part of the law would win out on something like this, but it's definitely something that we're gonna have to look into and make sure that we streamline and we're advocating for property rights. So that's gonna be one of the things that I hope to be able to work on when I'm in Carson City in 2023. It's really important that we protect our senior citizens, our veterans, those on fixed incomes, because every penny counts. Plus on top of it, we have this crazy inflation right now, and everybody is really being very careful with how they spend their money. And we need to be, very cognizant of that and sensitive. So if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me. My name is Danielle Gallant. I'm the broker of Guardian Realty, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.